Good day. I've just turned the water off for these two water butts that you can see here, the closer one and the one in the middle, because we're investigating the leak again. We think it's in this top path, and in fact we sort of know it's now in this top path. So we've got a loop system here, so the water comes across and then it goes, loops right the way down there along the outside path, and then it comes back up here through here where there's now a stopcock as well, and then back it joins here. So we've had the stopcock here off, but overnight we've had it on to see how much water gets lost, and it looks as though we lost about 300 litres overnight in just this top area, top path, because right at the end over here beyond this there's another water butt right at the end. That one has been on, but for the last few weeks since we've had the water on this top path, the two on the top path have not been working because the water's been off. But we put it on overnight and we've lost 300 litres overnight. So yeah, there's definitely a leak in this top path. When this top path is off, we lose maybe 2 litres overnight. So there's still a leak, but not really a major leak. But yeah. So tonight at 6 o'clock, or this evening, I'll be back here turning this on again, taking water meter readings, and then at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning I'll be turning this off again, and we'll see again how much water is lost overnight. As I say, just in this top stretch of path. I noticed yesterday that as the yellow tulips are going over, the blue iris are coming out, which is lovely. I think these were actually called metallic, but I think they've reverted to an original type as they've hybridized. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I think we put in 12 originally, and there's 12 coming up. So they haven't spread and they haven't seeded themselves, but you know what, they look lovely. And I'm sort of keeping this area at the back here behind this grow house very much as a wildlife area. So you can see I've strimmed up to this point, but I'm leaving that there because we've got a hedgehog den in here that we know is being visited by hedgehogs. So yeah, they and the frogs can have the run of this area. I will try and keep on top of the areas where I don't want them to go. As I say, working with wildlife, so they can have their areas, like over there where our 2 washing up bowl ponds are, and then we want our areas like these growing spaces. If you watched last week's A Week at the Plot, you may remember that I planted out our turnips from modules, but when I came to plant these out, the modules are really wet. The compost within it was really wet, and when I tried to take a module out, this one here, the compost just started breaking up. So I thought I'd leave it for 24 hours, and I think I've left it for 48 hours now. And I have to say, if I just come over sort of here, look, they've dried out enough to be planted out as a whole module without the compost breaking up, and hopefully you can see decent roots there as well. So I'm pleased about that, and I'm going to be planting these out in a rather what's the word, I can't think of it, an unusual way. I was going to put them into a particular bed, but I've decided to put them actually around where we've got a whole load of sunflowers growing. Not sunflowers, poppies. We've got a whole load of poppies growing. So I'm going to let the poppies grow and plant these modules out around them, which will be fine. They'll do fine. The poppies will need water and the beetroot will need water, so everything should be okay. Let me just show you where I'm going to do that. So this is the bed that I'm going to put those beetroot into, and I'm going to dot them about around these self-seeded poppies. It needs a weed as well. I can see some bindweed coming up here and other weeds as well, and actually once I've taken those weeds out, I think there'll be plenty of room for the beetroot to go in. And what I've also decided to do, because these did so well over winter, these are turnips which I'm allowing to flower, as you can see. And the reason I'm allowing them to flower is I want to save seeds from them. And down here is the reason why. I'm not sure if you can see that, but these turnips developed really well. Can you see that down there? Those are now, the largest is most probably billiard ball size. So yeah, I'm going to leave these go to seed, and the beetroot can go around and about. Oh, look what I can see. Red ants. So I need to be careful around here. Their formic acid really is horribly biting when they bite you. But look at the broad beans. This has to be so far some of the best broad beans we've had. Best looking plants anyway. Whether they'll be the best broad beans at the end of the day, I'm not sure. Anyway, Paul, stop talking, get working. I've just given the beetroot a quick water, and I'll give them another water in about half an hour, though we are due some rain apparently around mid-afternoon, something like that. And I'm going to go home now because there's stuff that I need to do at home, and I'm hoping that maybe if I get ahead with that with Richard in the next sort of 6 hours, because it can only be about 10 o'clock now, I can come back later on and just do some tidying around the plot, because I do need to do that. I was hoping to do some more weeding this morning, but because of talking to people and, you know, community life here, I didn't get the chance to do that. But at least I have got the beetroot in, which I'm really glad about, and I'm so glad I left those modules for 48 hours to let them drain, because they really did hold together well when I was planting them out, which was super. Right, I'm going to leave it there, and I'll see you again very soon for another segment of A Week at the Plot. Bye. Good day. I don't think you can see any, but we do have frogs in this pond, and we have frogs up in the washing up bowl ponds too. And you know, I said about the dandelions coming back and the daisies once I'd trimmed last week. Well, certainly that's been the case. I did actually leave this bit here as just a sort of beautiful wildflower area, and look at these gorgeous little pansies that have come up. There's some darker ones, the usual darker ones there, but I'm not sure what this is here. This is a thistle. It's that dandelion type thistle. Not sure what that is. I was going to do some strimming, so I bought the can't speak this morning. I brought the battery down, but it's starting to spit with rain. We are due quite a bit of rain today. Anyway, let me show you something else. And I know the woodpecker's around because I can hear it off and on as well. It looks as though we have found the leak, or one of our plot holders, one of our tenants here has found the leak. And it's basically right at the base of this tap. I've got some footage from yesterday that I'll slot in here because then you can actually see it running. Obviously what he's done is he's put this up to stop people falling into this hole, because down here we've got a hole that runs right through, and I think you can see it carries on down there. But down here is where the issue is, and it was in the T-junction of two pipes being joined and then coming up to feed this tap. And we determined that because, oh, let me go back, I'm being silly. We determined that because we put a stopcock in here, and then we measured the water from the paddock there right through to the corner, but with this section here turned off. And when we turned this section off, we were still losing in this section the same amount of water. So we determined that the leak must be in this section, went to the bottom. The plot holder extended this hole out to here, and then we saw the running water here. So yeah, we know where the leak is, and we think it can be sorted. It really is definitely raining now. I hadn't expected it to be raining at this point of the day. I knew it was going to be raining from about sort of 12 o'clock onwards, but I just hadn't expected it now. But caught out in the rain I have been. The good thing is that it is really mild now. I have no idea actually what the temperature is at the moment. That's saying in the shed it's 21.9 degrees, which I think is completely wrong. It's most probably around sort of 13, 14, something like that. And I hadn't expected to do a to camera piece today because I was just going to show you the hole and the running water, but so I haven't shaved. But I have to say, I think this rain and the warm weather has really got everything growing really, really well. Particularly the grass and the weeds, of course. There's some weeding that I need to do, and I'll get on and do that. But one of the other things that I want to do is give the carrots in this bed a little extra water. So I was coming down to water them, but I'm not sure I'll need to now. I mean, it's not going to do them any harm if I give them a little dredge of water, so I most probably will do that. But you know what? I'm so pleased, and fingers crossed, we have found the leak. And when the plot holder found the leak yesterday, he gave me a call and I came down and had a look at it. And it was so obvious that there was a leak in that joint. I mean, you know, you could see it. I'll just put it in here again. But you can see that there is water constantly flowing. And hopefully, we thought that we might have to get a new connector, T-piece connector for the tap, and put a different piece of pipe work in. But after another hour's work, after I'd gone home, the guy contacted me and said, actually, I think that we may just be able to connect it up because it looks as though it was never connected properly in the first instant. There's a big spider going down the side of the shed. Yeah, it looks as though it wasn't actually connected properly when it was put in all those years ago, 10 years ago or something. So what he's done is he's connected it and then tightened the leaking part up with a spanner, which he thinks wasn't done 10 years ago. And then he's been measuring the water overnight. And we said that we'd meet down here at 10 o'clock to see what the loss of water was overnight. So hopefully it will be much less than it has been in the past few days, because as I think I said, you know, we were losing like somewhere between 250 and 250 and 450 litres a day, dependent upon water pressure. And this is something that I found out as well. The water pressure changes. It's not always constant, which I had no idea about. So when the water pressure is higher, we'd be losing more water. When the water pressure is lower, we'd be losing less. But hopefully with this mend done on this junction here, this connector, hopefully the loss of water is down to something which is minimal and manageable. You know, if it was like, you know, 10 litres a day, even possibly 20 litres a day, that's very different to 240 to 450 litres a day. Anyway, we'll find out a bit later. It has actually stopped raining, so I'm going to go and have a look in the polytunnel. I do need to water. Did I water yesterday? No, I watered yesterday. But I want to see how the courgettes and the cucumbers are getting on, and also some of the other seedlings that we've got coming up. Oh, look, the Mizuna has reached the top now. Yeah, that's grown quite a bit again since last week. We've got spinach here and lettuce that we're harvesting. This was a Lola Rosso. That's the oak leaf we put in a few weeks ago, which is doing okay. The coriander is going to seed, which is great. That will be lovely once that's in flower. Oh, I haven't mended this yet. I must do that. And then over here, these are our cucumbers. We had 100% germination, and these are our courgettes, and as you can see, 100% germination there. There were 2 per pot from our save seeds in the cucumbers, and there was 1 per pot of the bought seeds of the yellow Pennard, or Pennard, that's where we got the seeds from, yellow courgettes. And then we come over here, Lola Rosso, we've got, I wanted about 12, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So hopefully none of those get nibbled. Oh, and look, these are the black crim. We've had 2 germinations there. I was looking for about 12 plants in all this year. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the Guernsey Island tomato, but at the moment only 2 of the black crim. But there is time. I've noticed on this Hottentot fig, these 2 at the bottom are dying off, but there's new growth coming there on that one, and there's plenty of new growth coming on this Hottentot fig. So I think we will have Hottentot figs, but yeah, I don't think anything is going to come back on those 2 geraniums. Sorry, I'm not holding it properly. Yeah, and look, when we come back here, the courgettes are getting true leaves, and the cucumbers as well are getting true leaves, which is great. But yeah, look how everything has grown with the weather. Warmth and wetness, that's what those 2 things, or this is what those 2 things do. Yeah. Oh, and look, lovely here. This is the I mean, it's like a pale blue, isn't it, of the, oh, what do you call that, Oh no, I can't remember. It's that overwintering salad leaf that you get. Oh, my brain at the moment. But what I have noticed just now, this is our snow in summer, and look, there's a, not sure if you can see there, but there's flowers beginning to form there. So yeah, and this area has got plenty going on as well. I think this is Nigella, isn't it? That's chicory there. Yeah, lots going on. And I think if we come down here, we might actually get from these red hawthorn that I took cuttings from, we're going to get some flowers, I think. Though it's now becoming clear that some of them, like this one, have got no growth or very lazy growth on them. Interestingly, the thicker cuttings all seem to be doing better. But you know what? We'll just wait and see. What I think this does need is it needs a water. Yeah. Right. I'm going to leave it there for today. I'm just going to get on and do some watering and tidying and some weeding. See you very soon. Bye. Good day and welcome to this final segment of A Week at the Plot for this week. And actually this is the end of a full 3 years of A Week at the Plot, a video every single week being uploaded, so I think that's quite an achievement. Yeah, I've been down here about an hour, so I left home about an hour and a bit ago. And I've been doing various things, talking to other plot holders, catching up, that type of thing. But one thing that I've also done is caught up with the plot holder who was sorting out the leak. And sure enough, that leak is now staunched. The meter readings over that he has taken over the past nights, I think 3 nights, have shown that there's been no water leakage. And he's also mended the stopcock that sheared off that the contractors put in only 2 months ago. Clearly it was a faulty piece of equipment that was put in. Not the contractor's fault, you know, these things happen, but a pain for us to, well, particularly for the tenant who did it, who's being paid to do it. I mean, he is being paid to do it, but he had to dig the hole and refit a new stopcock, which he's fitted a brass one rather than a plastic one, which I think is much better, and then is refilling the hole a bit later on today. So the leak on the site, touch wood, is no more, which is great, which meant I could use the water butt. So over the past couple of months when I've needed water, if I haven't had water in the water butt here or at the communal sheds where we've got water butts, I've been going into the paddock area, and there's always a tap in the paddock area that's available mainly for chicken keepers here, so that they can go and get fresh water, and that's really insulated in quite a sheltered area, so that is available throughout the winter. But of course, because we've been turning the water off and on, you know, it hasn't for some bits. But that's where I've usually got my water, if not from the water butt here in the communal shed. So now I can go to the to our local water butt and fill up my watering can, which is great, which is really super. So yeah, pleased that that is all now sorted. You know, when you're on a committee, And when you're an active member of that committee in particular, you know, there's always challenges and things that you need to sort out, and usually you have the help of others, of course, to sort them out. But there's all the messaging that goes around it to the community that you're delivering to, you know. So and in our case, that's usually a WhatsApp message, a Facebook message, an email, and also a notice on the notice board. And we think that by doing that, we cover everyone. WhatsApp is the most active now of our private groups, I have to say. So yeah, it's always active, that one. Anyway, when I came the other day, I noticed that not as many tomatoes had germinated as I had hoped. However, when I came down today, I've noticed that now there's 6 of the black crim have germinated, and 7 of the Guernsey Island tomato have germinated. But when I was at home, I thought I'd go through my box, because I knew I'd received some tomato seeds from Shaz at the Kingstone 8, and I knew that they were in a lovely handmade seed envelope. Look at that. Lovely. And these are cherry, and the thing with cherry tomatoes is they usually grow pretty quickly and they give you a harvest pretty quickly. So where I sowed the others about 3 weeks, maybe a month ago, I'm sowing these today, but I'm hoping that we're going to get a harvest from these certainly before the end of July, fingers crossed. We've also decided this year not to do the Hanwell Carnival, but we're going to be doing a gate sale from our allotment gate on the same day that the pub opposite has its own market. It has a market once every 1 month, no, one Saturday of every month. So we're going to have a gate sale then. So I'm going to be sowing a few extra seeds for plants for that. But I thought I'd also sow some of these Chadwick cherries. So even though really I only wanted 12 tomato plants this year, and we've got more than that, I'm still going to be sowing some of these Chadwick cherry, some for us and some to sell at the gate sale that we have. So I'm just going to get on and do that. And I have to say, you know, the cucumbers, they're really enjoying this sort of heat that we're getting at the moment. And courgettes the same. You can see how they've grown. The true leaf has come and they've grown really well over the last few days, because we've had rain and we've had heat. And even though it's quite overcast today, it's going to get up to about 20 degrees. So I'm going to be leaving the poly open because I don't want the poly to get too warm. And I've been leaving the poly ajar, the door of the poly ajar each night, so that pollinators can get in and pollinate this Mizuna as well. But yeah, so look, I'm going to leave it there. You've seen me sow tomato seeds before. And I think after I've done this job of sowing these, what I am going to do is just do what I've been saying for ages I'm going to do, tidying around the plot. Because there's some, I noticed that there's some roses that I took cuttings of, hedge roses I took cuttings of a few years ago. They've been in pots, but unfortunately they succumbed to the cold weather. There's a few foxgloves that were in pots and they have also succumbed. So there's various things that just need a tidy, and also there's a lot of grass that needs pulling as well. Whether I'll get on and do that today, I'm not sure, but yeah, certainly some tidying is going to be going on. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. And if you have any comments, any questions, please do leave them down below and I will get back to you. And if you're on Planet Vegetaria, I'll see you through next week for further uploads of A Week at the Plot. And I'll see you on YouTube for another full week in a week's time. Have a good growing week. Bye.